and welcome to the Aren't You Tired Of podcast, a podcast where we're discussing those things that we're really tired of in life and work and what we're going to do about it. I'm your co-host, Mark Benton, and I'm here with my other co-host,
Patti Johnson. Hi, everybody. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, so today's topic is about change.
Yes.
And it's something we can't avoid.
No.
It's something that's always present. It can help us to achieve great things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I find in my personal life and those that I talk and work with, change is daunting. Change is exhausting. And sometimes it just is gives you just a plain kick in the butt.
H-A-R-D, as you would say, Mark.
H-A-R-D.
H-A-R-D. Yes,
hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
Yes.
And so that's why we wanted to dedicate a topic on change. So Patti, as my co-host, is an expert in change. But instead of having her talk about, her own thoughts and, just kind of lead with it, I thought I'd turn the tables a little bit and ask you some core questions about change. The reason why I thought this was such an important topic, Patti, is because, I know that you have advised countless clients, me, and others around change. You've written 2 books on the topic. You've had podcast, 2 different, runs of your podcast that you've talked about it, and spent over 10 years as an adjunct professor at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, where you talk about the topic. You've led research and done studies on how you can successfully initiate and navigate change. And so I thought that we'd spend some time talking about it. In the work that I do, I talk a little bit about change, just a little bit. And so I thought, we could really kind of get into it. And I think because of the nature of the way that we are all experiencing life right now, it just feels like it's change on top of change on top of change.
Big time. Big time. Yeah, and I think, when we're talking about change, I would say for those of you listening, I'm going to bet each of you is picturing something a little bit differently. That's okay. Yeah. It might be the big organizational change you're leading. It might be a personal change you're trying to, go ahead and get started. Maybe you're trying to do something different in your community. All of that will apply. We're going to try to take it. There'll be some variations, but I think everything we're going to talk about here is going to fit no matter what you might be picturing when we talk about the big fat word of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
So, what have you learned that many people miss about navigating change, Patti, or kind of starting a change?
Yeah. So for me, I have done a lot of work in change and a lot with clients. And I will tell you, Mark, you've come out of the same environment. Always go straight to the do. What do you need to do? What's the project plan? Or what's the action? And my biggest learning over time has been that's good and that's important. But what's really important is what's going on up in your head. And don't we have a whole circus rolling in here? And so
I got clowns.
You got some clowns.
I got everything in there.
We got some monkeys, some giraffes. And I think your thoughts are going to determine whether you'll ever get started.
Yeah.
It'll determine if you're ever going to step out and do something a little different. And so I think that is the biggest differentiator is, around that. And one thing I want to say, I want to ask y'all to think about, I use the term backpack, but all of us have things in our backpack that we carry around with us from when we were kids.
Yeah.
How we were just kind of how we grew up, how we thought the world worked, and we bring those with us wherever we go. So nobody sees this little invisible backpack, but we're bringing it. And so the reason I'm mentioning that is when it comes to change, you have to have that self-awareness to know, what are my triggers? What are the rocks going to show up in my path that's going to make it really, really hard? And so I will say for me, man, my backpack it's got the circus, right? I got all kinds of stuff going on in my backpack.
Yeah.
But a couple of things. One is perfectionism. I am far from perfect, but boy, things I care about, I want them to be good, and I will be all over it. And people that know me well will be like, okay, we know this. That, and the other thing, I am Olympics have been on last month, but Olympic level worrier.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I can worry, well, what if this and if this and if this? And, I have found in my life and career, knowing one of my things I've been really good at is implications. Like I can, in business, it's helped me be more strategic, longer term. Like if you do this, these things will happen. Yeah. Flip side, you will worry about everything. Yeah. So those are two things for me that when it comes to change, I got to know I'm going to have to manage my way through those because they are going to be in my backpack no matter what I do because they are there from when I was much younger. Yeah. What about you? What's in your backpack, Mom?
Wow. That's good. I was thinking about what mine would be, and I'm going back to a previous job I had. Let's see. I'm going to date myself here. It could have been almost 15, 20 years ago. And what I learned is I like to inflict change. Yes, change that. Let's improve that. But I am not a big change person.
It's hard.
Blew my mind. Actually, I took a assessment, and it was talking about the different types of people that are in change. You have I think it was like your conservers. Yeah. These are the people that I just don't like change, don't move my cheese, if you're familiar with that reference. Then there was the people in the middle, the pragmatists, they're weighing all the sides of it. And then I'm remembering this on the fly. And then there were the people that were like the early adopters, like change, let's do it. And I realized I understand change concepts. If working in any kind of environment or, outside of work, a change is going to, happen. I can get on board. But for me personally, what's in my backpack is stability.
See, I get it.
Didn't realize that until I had, till I took that survey and then realized how it plays out. And I was like, oh, yeah, you don't really like change. You like for things to be, when you come back, that thing needs to be right where it was. Yeah. Right? But I think don't change my stuff up.
Don't mess my stuff up. But I think that's really interesting because I'm a lot like that too. Yeah. I'm an early adopter on a lot of things. Yeah. I like that to be, but I like it to be out there. Yeah. When it comes to your own personal change, that's where it gets harder. But the reason that's so important is in your head, in your thoughts, you got to make sure that personal built-in need for stability doesn't kind of like step in and be, get in your path.
Yeah. You know? I think in listening to you, what I think, and maybe some listeners actually will resonate with what I'm saying too, is I am an early adopter, when something comes out that's new, I'm the one in the grocery store that if it's new packaging, the actual product itself, if it's like food or something, it just may suck. It may just be gross. Yeah. But if the packaging is cool, I'm like, let's get it. Let's just do it. Right? So, I love to try new things and change it up. But I think what I've realized is it's about, my creature comforts. Like, if I come back to, you know what, I have to tell this story because this is what it was. This is when I really realized it. In right around, I guess it was the pandemic, 2020, 2021, we had a big issue happen at our home and we had to move out and water and
I remember
mold.
All this.
And remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And we moved from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel because it took them forever. Yeah. And my family couldn't live in the home because they were really allergic to mold and all those things. Sure. Well, it drained my energy to have to hotel room down to the lobby to, eat and DoorDash. And I was like, this is draining. And I realized maybe I like to change a process or change, the way this team is structured or that, change that wall color. But when it comes to my creature comfort of where I go to get rest and where I go for refuge, my home base, don't change that.
Don't miss it.
So that's how it was an aha for me.
But see, I think that right there is that's kind of what we're talking about for those of you that are listening. Like, what is it that you need or your own tendencies that you know are going to get in your way? The other thing related to this question, Mark, is your habits. It's kind of connected to what you're talking about in terms of what makes you comfortable.
Yeah, say more about that.
Our brain loves habits. And if you're into brain research, there's all kinds of interesting stuff about it. But habits are the way our brain makes us more efficient, makes us smarter. You've done that 3 times. Okay. You don't even need to think about it anymore because when you do it the 4th time, the 5th time, you're going to keep doing the same way. And it's big things and small things. And like for me in the morning, this is ridiculous, but when I'm having my coffee, I'm going to pull out the New York Times spelling bee. I'm going to do that first. Then I'm going to do Wordle.
Okay.
Then I'm going to do strands and I'm going to do connections.
What time are you getting up?
Well, it only takes that's about 15, 20 minutes.
All of that?
Now, I can't do a crossword puzzle. The crossword, I can't do that.
You're doing all of that in about 15, 20
20 minutes, about 20. But it's going to be in that order.
Okay.
I mean, that's the point. Like, we're not going to do the Wordle last.
Yes.
It's going to be in that order.
Okay.
So that sounds ridiculous, but I give that little small example because we do that in our lives. Like, these are the routine. This is a habit. These are the habits we have. And it's important because when you're trying to do something new, you gotta bust up those habits. So right now you've got your habits that are driving you and you've got your thoughts that you've been carrying with you a very long time. So the point to all of this is if you want to change something in your life, you have to have plans to be able to, I am going to let some of that go. I'm going to manage around some of it, or you'll never get to step 1.
Yeah, well.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And, we have listeners that maybe their wheels are turning just like mine. That seems hard. That seems hard to understand who you are, what drives you, what motivates you, how do you react, in when something new is introduced, and then change how you think about it.
Yeah.
It's almost like being really present to understand intent and all that. So how do you work through that?
Right. Well, you know that if you're like me, your thoughts can be just a big old jumbled mess.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got all these different thoughts. And so one of the techniques I think is really helpful if you're going, that's too hard, I can't figure that out. I want you as listeners, let's think about if you're driving, you're walking, you can't do it right now, but it's super simple. So here's what this exercise is get out the old-fashioned Post-it notes. This is what works best for me because
I used to have a client that called them post tips.
Well, posties.
Posties. Get you some post tips. Yeah, post tips. Yeah.
Did you ever tell this person they had it wrong?
I did, and he just still kept saying post tips.
Okay. Get out your post tips. And what you're going to do is you are going to drain your brain of every thought you have about the change that you want to make. So we're just going to pretend. Let's say you want to move to Denver.
Okay.
This will be something everybody can relate to.
Okay. You
want to move to Denver. It's been on your heart. It's really important to you.
I hear Denver's a nice place.
A lot of people love it in Denver.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing.
And
you think, I want to be, this is really where I want to be. It's a little closer to family. So I want to do it. I've been wanting to do it. And that I know. That's a change I want to make. So what I want you to do is I want you to write on a Post-it note every random, big, small thought you have about moving to Denver. Anything from, can I find the right job? I don't really like cold weather. Well, my sister who lives a mile away is really going to be furious at me. I really like my work friends. Will they still keep in touch with me? I don't really like to interview. That stresses me out. You might have 30 or 40, big, small, just clear your brain of every thought about this change that you might make. Whether it might not be moving, it might be find a new job. It might be that you want to join some different group. Maybe you want to start something, initiative at work, whatever.
Yeah.
Clear your brain up. Step 1. Step 2, I want you to pick no more than 5. Star the ones that are really critical.
So I'm going to do the exercise, get all my post tips out.
Your post tips.
All my post tips down that I've written on. And then put pull my top 5.
Put a star on
the things.
Critical must-haves, like really, really important to you. Like if your dog doesn't like the snow, that's not going to get a star. Okay.
Right.
Is it finding the right job so I can earn the right? That's going to be a star, right?
Okay.
So things that are the most important. Then I want you to, step 3, organize them into things I can influence or control. Things I can't. Okay, you don't like the cold? I'm sorry. It's going to be cold in Denver.
Okay.
You cannot change that. You cannot control if your sister is mad at you because you moved. That's on her. So, and then you're going to focus on what is in your control or in your influence.
Okay.
You got me?
All right.
And then last fourth one is, where do you need more information research? Maybe one of your Post-its was, I think it's going to cost me too much to move. Well, get online, figure out how much is it going to cost me to move?
Yeah, get some information.
Take away. And so this exercise is intended to clear the clutter in your brain, help you focus, let go of the things you cannot control. And where do I spend my energy around this change? So it feels, you're trying to keep it from feeling so overwhelming.
Well, what I think I'm hearing is it's helping you to get to a mindset of, I can figure this out.
That's right. I can take on, because I feel like when it's talking about thoughts, I feel like many of my clients, I've experienced this myself, so many thoughts, worries for me, that are swirling. I've got to make sense of it. I've got to get it out of my head. And I've also got to, they're not all equal.
Yeah.
All the thoughts, the fears, the concerns you have, or the things you're excited about, they're not all equal. And so you got to, I think if you are someone who tends to worry, tends to have a lot of fear, tends to think, oh, I don't think I can do that, then it's kind of an exercise to help you get it all out.
Right? Like get it all out.
Get it out.
So this is really a mindset shift in how to think about change. So this is really helpful. So what you're saying is if a change is in front of you or you're thinking about a change, all the things you're worried about, you're like, get it down on paper. And so that you can have lots of different thoughts. I love this, get it down on a Post-it or Post-its.
Post-its.
Post-its, put it down on a Post-it.
Yeah.
And then star the ones that are big, you said, okay. And then categorize those into what I can control and what I can't control. Yeah.
And the things that you can't control, it might be things you can influence.
Yeah.
Something could influence by learning.
You said maybe you have to get more information. You said I can't influence it, and then you get more information. Oh, actually, I can influence this.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Or I'm just thinking, kind of in the moment here that it could be one thing that gets solved helps with something else, right? So it could happen.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what else have you learned, in this whole process around having the right mindset for change and kind of organizing your thoughts? What else is important for our listeners to really understand around the journey of really understanding how to navigate just this constant pace of change? Because what you're talking about right now is if I decide that I'm making a change in my life.
Which is the biggest domino, usually.
That's the biggest one.
I got to decide.
But for me personally, kind of what's going on in my life right now, and maybe some of our listeners, is I'm at work or I'm, part of this group or that group, and the change and the things just don't stop coming.
Yeah, that's one point. And then the other thing I want to make is a follow-up to you in terms of, on the thoughts, and I'm going to come back to the constant change, is I think the most, in my research and with clients, the most common belief you mentioned just a minute ago is the difference maker is the thought, I can figure this out.
So say more about that.
Well, what I mean by that is I may not know how to do that today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I may not know this big project I'm supposed to lead or this new idea I have. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I have no clue how to do it. But I can figure it out. I will tell you that in my research and interviewing countless people who started change and successful change, that was said in so many or observed in every case.
I'm actually remembering this from your first book, you know, and one of the common themes that I remember was people that were most successful, and you wrote it, so you'll keep me straight. But people that were most successful were they believed they could affect the change. They believed that despite the hill to climb or the obstacles to get over, I knew I could be successful.
Yes.
In fact, I'm remembering there was some quotes that you would pull from people.
And the striking thing is, and this is true especially with a lot of entrepreneurs, but also people within organizations, people with zippity zero experience doing that type of business. You know, there's plenty of stories out there like, Sarah Blakely, you know, who started Spanx. She had no retail background, no product development background.
She had a need.
She had a need. And don't we all have the need for the Spanx? Let's be clear. Thank you, Sarah. But she figured it out. And a lot of entrepreneurs. But I think that mindset is exactly, you know, it just makes such a difference. Like and it means I have confidence in myself.
Yeah.
Not that I personally have to figure it out. I can either learn it or I can find people around me to help me.
I can do.
You know, I will figure out how to do it. Because if there's no way you're going to know how to do anything new you want to take on already.
Let's talk about this concept, because I think a lot of our listeners, one thing they are probably super tired of is this whole pace of change. Right? It's change on top of change. I can't get through one thing before the next thing is coming. And, you know, some of it can be related to just the advancement of technology, because technology brings change, and technology is very integrated into our lives. And so, you know, it's putting it front and center. But, you know, how do you deal with it? How do you personally deal with the pace of change?
Well, I'm not like back to, you know, what you know and what you do aren't always the same thing. Sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm not. I think the main thing is back to our expectations around change. You are always going to be frustrated with any change, whether it's at work, it's personal, if your belief is, if the reality is way out of whack with your expectations. So if let's say as an example, how many times have we, and you and I have been there in organizations where it's like, we can just get to May 1st. Things are going to calm down.
I said that yesterday.
They're not going to.
If I could just get to May 1st.
May 1st, it's going to get calmer.
Yeah.
And we're going to get this big initiative over.
Yeah.
And we're going to get grandmother moved, and we're going to get, it is never going to settle.
Patty,
it's just not.
What? Just sitting here listening to you, I'm exhausted.
I know, but
I mean, you know.
But see, the key thing is, and of course, and sometimes you just are, right?
Yeah.
You're just going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
But I do think if your expectation is always, sometimes we all have peaks in our work, in our personal life, where it's just, the demands are higher, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times, especially in business and organizations in this day, you need to be changing or you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a good thing. And so don't ever expect that I'm going to get over the hurdle. It's going to be okay. Because after that, it will be the next thing. And especially the organizations you are in and have been in, they are constantly changing, growing, expanding. And it's just, that's why I do think the expectation, if your expectation's always out of sync with reality, that's when it's the most exhausting.
Yeah, I think that that is really an important statement. If your expectation and expectations are out of sync with reality, not good.
Well, you're going to be constantly frustrated because what you're thinking is going to happen versus what's really happening is always going to be out of sync.
Yeah,
and you're going to be mad.
And that's hard.
It's going to be hard.
When we were talking about the pace of change, one of the other things, you have, I think, a great story about someone you knew that had a change, an unexpected change that was put in front of them. You know, you talked about your friend Lori.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's one of the changes where, you know, sometimes things show up, right? They just come. How many times have we had changes in our life? It could be anything like what now might seem like small when I can remember at different points in your career and in mine, you're given this initiative. Whoa, I have no idea how to do this. You're given a client that looks very complex.
Yeah.
Hard. Okay, I didn't pick that. Hard. H-A-R-D.
H-A-R-D. Hard.
Sometimes in our personal lives, we know sometimes it can be ending of a relationship. It can be loss of a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things we won't specialize on those today.
Yeah.
But those are examples of things we don't, they just show up on our doorstep and we don't want them.
Yeah.
But I do think, I love the story, and this was in my original book, of dear Lori Meyer, who, her story, and she doesn't mind me telling this, by the way.
Yeah.
She had a child in a little school and her child had special learning needs. And this is what the school is designed to do. It was a small school.
Yeah.
The parents loved it.
Yeah.
They were so happy.
Yeah.
Lori it was just perfect. Well, the owners of the school called the parents one day, had a meeting and said, we just wanted to let you know we're going to have to close the school because they had to move, I believe that.
Yeah. The owners had to move.
Owners had to move.
Yep.
The parents sat there stunned. And Lori, I'll never forget the quote she said. She goes, I realized someone was going to have to do something and it was going to have to be me. And I love that mindset.
That's great.
She, by the way, had a financial background.
Okay.
She said, I had no experience in academia. No experience
special
running,
education. I mean,
none.
She had a child with
child.
special needs, but she wasn't, professional in dealing with that.
No.
Wow.
And so she then created this coalition of parents and friends of parents who had the knowledge and expertise.
Okay.
They took that school over.
Okay.
Didn't let it close.
Okay.
And she's still involved there today.
That's
and
a great
it was
story.
it's a kind of a miraculous story.
That's a great story.
A great story. But that's an example of someone who something showed up on the doorstep. And I think we could all say in all parts of our life, she focused on, what can I do?
Yeah. It comes back to something you said a little bit ago, and that is, what is your mindset around the change? Am I going to help move it forward? Is it going to overtake me, or am I going to get in the groove of what this change is and just figure out how to navigate it? One of the lessons learned that I take from, the story that you just talked about, your friend Lori Meyer, is she took ownership in the moment. She said, here's a change and somebody's got to do something, and it just might have to be me. She built a coalition. She went and got other people.
Yes.
Look at me teaching. She got other people to help her with that. And she organized. I'm sure she used what she knew, her own background. I think you said it was a finance background.
Financial background.
Think about that, to raise capital and do all the things she needed to do to keep, the school going.
Daunting.
Very daunting. But she used what she had. She brought others, people in there. Look at me teach here. And then she went and got to the place where now it's sustained.
Yeah, exactly.
And other people can now benefit from it. Her step.
That's exactly right.
I love that.
I think the other thing I want to mention on mindset that's related to Lori's story, I think, is you need to know your why.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? Right? You can't lead with your ego, but why are you doing it? And one of the things just last month, those of you, I don't know how many of you were watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
But the story of the young girl who won the figure skating,
Alyssa Liu.
Okay.
Amazing.
That is an amazing story.
If y'all haven't figured out or researched or watched Alyssa Liu, go back.
And
check
her
that girl
story is, you talk about knowing your why.
Yes.
Knowing
who you are.
And know who you are.
And then knowing your why. Yeah.
And, she had just lit, I'll give you the headline if you didn't watch.
You should tell them. It's good.
She was a world-class skater.
Yep.
Up until 16, her whole life was skating.
And you need to know she's 20, I think, now.
She's 20 now.
20 now.
So she then, after the last Olympics at 16, she had won like the national, all these, she was a fantastic skater.
Yep.
She said, there's no joy in this, in skating anymore.
Yep.
And she stopped skating. And if you saw her feature, she had never been on a vacation.
Yeah.
had never like been able to hang out with friends and just go do what they were doing.
Whatever. Yeah. Just whatever. Go to the movies and take care of herself. Whatever.
She always had a schedule and it was driven. It was kind of startling. Never been on a vacation.
Yep.
Okay. So she said, I'm done. She stopped skating.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a year ago.
Yeah. A year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. Which in skating, I mean, I don't know anything about, figure skating.
I don't know anything about it either.
But I know that's amazing.
That's amazing what you're saying here. Yeah.
She goes on a ski trip with some friends. And on the ski trip, she said, I got the thrill of that athletic, doing great things, going fast.
Yeah.
And she said, I think I want to skate a little bit again. I want to get back to
it. I want to skate a little bit.
Let me get back. So this past year, she got back into
it.
But total joy.
Past year.
Right?
Yeah.
And she said, I'm not on a lot of people are on special diets and stuff. I'm not. I'm just, taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And she said things like, I just want to be here. Mm-hmm. I'm in a beautiful costume. I want to go out there and do my best. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about a medal, whatever. Yeah. I don't care.
She skates with joy. If you've watched before, when those skaters or any athlete, before they kind of get on the ice or go out the chute, they're tense, right?
Anxiety.
She's just chill. And she's like, I'm just going to go have some fun. And she's like, we'll just see. We'll see what happens.
And joy for other people who got their medals.
Yes.
And
it was a joy to watch her.
It's a joy to watch her.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful story, though, of, like you said, knowing both who she is and knowing her why. She's I'm at the Olympics. I'm performing. Yeah. I'm not there. She wasn't like, I gotta get the gold or I'm going to be a failure.
Yeah.
None of that was going on in her head.
Because of that, now, you might call it luck. You might say, in some circles, she's blessed, favored, all these things. I believe in good, positive energy.
Big time.
I believe in that. It's a mindset. Mm-hmm. And what you're talking about with the change, and we'll use Alyssa Liu as the example here, that's a change. If you've done something and prepared for something all your life and then done it at a world-class level, and then you say, I'm going to stop. But why am I stopping? To take care of me.
Myself. That's exactly
and get some joy back in life.
Joy.
What I'm taking away, you didn't say this yet, but what I'm taking away is with all this change and all this pace that we get on, this change teaches us to stay in the groove, keep the routine. How do you, don't step out of the line. And what you need to do is sometimes hit the pause button and take yourself out of the situation.
Well, and I would go one step further. The key, by her doing that, her story, she says that helped her rediscover that she did love skating.
Got it.
And the why I want to do this, I do want to go back, but it wasn't it wasn't focused on the medal. And I think that the other thing that I think is important for listeners is if you lead any change, if you lead it with your ego.
Yeah.
Now you might think, oh, I don't have a big ego. Well, ego shows up in a lot of ways. Ego can be like, oh, if I don't get the applause, if I don't get the approval, you're going to give up. You're not going to keep going because so that is an important thing to realize. You cannot let your big feeler out there be at the front because the feeler is going to get hit.
Yeah. We got to evolve ourselves. When it comes to what I'm taking away and as we, kind of start to wind down this conversation, I am taking away, my initial question to you and what I said at the, top of our time was this pace of change. We're tired of it. So, some people aren't. Some people just love that chaos and that change in their lives. But I want to say, and the research has said most of us are, on this continuum of our, love of change, most of us are a little bit more conserving. We're a little bit like, hey, not too much.
Yeah.
I kind of want to control it, slow it down.
You want to control it. That is important.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times external changes, you don't have any control over it. Back to expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So absolutely. I think that is very, very important. And I do think if you're doing something new, there are going to be bumps. There are going to be setbacks. And if you have that mindset, it's not going to go perfectly.
Yeah.
Then you aren't going to be devastated when the setback happens. Because it's gonna.
I think I think it's important. So whether you are dealing with change in work or in just your life, and you're initiating and leading a change. So, for those of you listeners that are leading a change or responsible for a change, we got to think about not just how we're trying to plan for the change, but how is it going to land on other people?
Oh, big
and
time.
Leading, whether you're leading yourself through the change or you're leading others through the change, that's also a big responsibility and daunting.
Yes.
I read something here I want you to comment on.
Yeah.
I was listening to a speaker a couple of weeks ago, and they said leadership through change is the work of disappointing people at a rate they can tolerate.
Interesting. I love that. Well, and you know what is what I'm thinking when you make that statement is part of disappointing them.
Yeah.
Isn't just like because you're a screw up.
Yeah.
It's got to be because you're being honest. Your things are happening they probably wouldn't have chosen. Maybe you wouldn't have chosen.
Yeah.
So you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
While also offering some hope. And I think that's interesting. I think with the disappointment, there's more that has to go with that.
Well, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I do think one thing, and I don't know that we have time, this is probably a whole other topic for us, but another time. But if you're leading a change that involves a lot of people, then you got to get your mind right for everything we've talked about fits.
Yes.
You got to get your head right.
Yep.
You got to think about it. You got to, you can figure it out. And then you got to figure out, how do I get other people in the tent with me?
Right. And you got to have your post tips.
You got to have your post tips.
You got to have some post tips.
You got to have post tips for the whole team.
For the whole
Give them all
you get
out.
lots of post tips.
Yeah, a lot of post tips. But but it starts with you. If you're a change leader, it starts with you.
Yeah. And a change leader, we're not just talking about at work. We're talking about in life. If you're the one that leads the change, if you're the one that initiates it or has to pull other people through it, then this conversation was for you.
Absolutely.
And we hope that through this, you're just maybe going to be a little bit less tired about it.
A little bit.
Just a little wee bit. So, we always try to end with a takeaway. So, Patti, what is your takeaway from, this conversation?
Right. We didn't say it this way, but one of my takeaways is you need to be kind to yourself. You need to support yourself. Yeah. So if change is hard, okay, how do I help myself cleanse my brain?
Yeah.
How do I understand and not be hard on myself when I do make a mistake? Because you will.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of like it's a kind of an underlying theme. We didn't call it out.
Yeah.
But I do think in order to get through this, you've got to be kind to yourself and give yourself some grace. Yeah. Because it ain't going to be perfect.
Yeah. I think
my takeaway.
That's right. I love that takeaway. The thing that comes to mind for me is when you talked about, your friend Lori that had to help keep the school going.
Yes.
And she had a mindset that said, somebody has to do this. It just might be me.
Yeah.
And she got a coalition of people. She got all the right people or people around her that could help. So you got to take care of yourself. One of the ways to do that is you don't do it alone.
And have the wisdom to know, here's what I know I can figure out. Back to this is what I can figure out. This is what, there's no way I can figure this out. I'm going to need some other people who know how to do this.
Who know how to do it. Yeah.
Whole men.
Yeah. Because it still takes a village.
It takes a village.
It still takes a village. Well, okay. Again, this has been a great conversation.
Yes.
I was
meaty
excited.
Topic.
A big meaty topic. We could continue to keep talking about this, but I knew that, you had some good, solid pearls of wisdom on the concept of change. I tried to do my best to emulate powerful Patti questions. So hopefully I pulled it through.
You had some great questions.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, this has just been great. Listeners, we hope that this conversation has been good for you and that if you heard something that helped you to be less tired of change and something that's going to help you work and live better, then take that and share it with somebody else. Sure. Please share this. You can find us on both Apple and Spotify if you search by Aren't You Tired Of? And you can also find us on Instagram, Aren't You Tired Of _social. So join the Aren't You Tired Of community. Lots of people out there that we're talking to that are tired.
And if you go to the podcast, we would love for you to subscribe.
Yes.
We would love for you to give us a review, rate us, give us feedback. You know how to reach us.
Yeah.
Tell us, if you have questions, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this has been great. We hope to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. And until we get a chance to talk to you again, we bid you adieu.
Yeah. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care.